So, good morning, good evening, everybody, today to this episode of Mastermind Call at 8 p.m. And this is a group of mid career professionals who are looking for a breakthrough in their lives. Why a breakthrough? Because people get stuck because of various reasons in their lives. Sometimes those are workplace related issues. Many of the time, those are not workplace related issues but affecting workplace. Those are personal issues. Personal issues may come from anywhere. And the same problem can present itself in different views and different perspectives with different person, because it's a problem, personal problem, and it can have a thousand of views. And because of that, this problem is, it doesn't have a unique solution. It has to be customized to the person's requirement. But I always say that all the problems stem from the same reason, same mindset, and require some little correction in mindset, which will lead to a solution which you can create. It is not one solution anybody can create, because you know your problem to the core yourself only. Not Nobody else in this world can know, but everybody can see the symptoms. Might be before you discover the symptoms yourself, everybody else can see. And the usual symptoms are, either you are grieving, complaining too much because you are frustrated, or you are depressed, you are not able to tell anybody, express anybody, or you are in anger, lot of anger. So if any of these three things is happening to you, then you need support. So every time, all the time, I speak to people, many people who are stuck. They look from their appearance, you can discern that those people require help, but they are within themselves, because they are so frustrated with the world that they don't want to trust anymore. They are quite right. But how to reach out to those people? It is because it is with persistent effort, right? Those people who are looking at you, watching you all the time. So it is consistency. So if you are doing this same thing over and over and over and again, all by yourself, you might also get depressed after some time. But if you are doing in a group, then it's quite possible that you will be encouraged by people, and you also will be encouraging people. That is why men are social animals, right? So that is how we can come to the to the interest of one another. That is what my idea is, and that is why all the masterminds are formed. And these are groups with similar mindset people, and they come to discuss way forward. So let me share the screen and let us discuss what has happened since our last mastermind call in here. So let me see if we are focusing on this. Just a minute. Uh, Let me make it full screen so that everybody can see. Hope everybody is able to see this. Let me start with the first screen. Let me go. So, as I said, this is the mid-career professional. This group is today is 5th February. This is for mid-career professionals who are looking for a breakthrough. And why I am doing this? To help mid-career professionals who have 5 to 7 years of experience and who are feeling stuck. And so I help them to take back the control of their lives, feel fulfilled, and get back to reckoning if they are sidelined. Because when they are stuck, they are sidelines. And these people are very brilliant people. That is why they attract kind of uh, resistance from people who don't want them to march forward. So we all need healing in our own way. So they are no exception. Mid-career professionals are no exception. But let us see how how we can help. So my method is called resourcefulness. That is how you influence. You be yourself. You know what expertise you have, what skills you have. So if you combine all those things that you have by nature, then it becomes kind of say resourcefulness. So an attitude of resourcefulness inspires out of the box thinking and generation of new ideas and the ability to visualize all possible ways to achieve what you desire. So these are a few of the comments that I have gained from people who are expert about mid-career professionals. And resourcefulness turns you into an inventive and enterprising entrepreneur. uh, and that is how you influence because you are resourceful. That is how, with that expertise in by your side, you influence the senior management for your influence in the company. That is what is resourceful influence is all about. So if you are in a company where you are feeling stuck, if you search for another job and going somewhere else, the problem will prevail if you don't know how to utilize your resourcefulness, right? So my background is I am a mathematics postgraduate with 12 plus years of experience. I have worked in areas unrelated to mathematics, which means that my resourcefulness has come to play whenever I sought jobs, and I have always got into unpublished jobs, those jobs which were never published. I just wrote them telling which kind of problems I can solve, and that is how I got into the jobs that I got into. And love people. My superpower is helping people get started and get to the finish line. So all the while, when people get demotivated to start because they procrastinate, and to finish because they cannot manage their time, that is where I come into play and help them get through. And how I am qualified to do this? So far, I have trained 18,000 trainers so far, impacting 1 crore lives. Spot talent in people. That is is the resourcefulness that I always spot in people, and figure out a solution to most of the problem. Can leverage others' talent and help them become more. And I don't have any cribbing about any qualms about the other person is getting ahead or not, because anybody whoever is a progressive person, he can help me to grow more. So it is a mutual thing. The moment I help you to grow more, I also grow. So that is the main essence why I'm doing this. And I see talented people being the most bickering. So people who are most talented, those people actually uh, get they have the most energy and they get into this craving mode. And I teach, and people waste their energy all the time. And I teach resourceful influencing as a leadership growth measure. That is how people get to the leadership positions with their influence and their credibility, resilience, with the resourcefulness. And my insight is wait for the moment to pass if it is grieving you, immerse in the moment if it is blessing you. So these are the two conditions one has. So these either of condition you can take for yourself. Objective of this group is to introduce and invite other trendsetters and go-getters, contribute in the mastermind. This call, I want everybody to contribute. You might be observing with regard to somebody being stuck or sidelined. You might be observing so many people, but those people don't come to this group because they don't know. So I want you to invite those people, come here. So first I want you to know what type of solution I am offering. So this is something I learned last week. Your degree is just a piece of paper. Real education is seen in how you treat others, behavior, ethics, and humility. Reward system in this group is we can co-author a book. That has been my proposition since the beginning. With all our experiences, we can write a book together, and the writer of this book will be ever expanding Sangeeta's mastermind, and we can mention our names within that book. So it is a group which is creating a book, so it will be one of its own kind. It will be a new idea. So that is what I suggest. That will be a good reference manual for the next generation, whoever is taking over us, right? And six core values of trendsetters is, the first is dignity, where no compromise on values happen. Lifestyles of one's own choice. There will be mobility, no restriction on mobility, and unrestricted decision making will be one's. That is what I define by dignity. The second value is tranquility, wait for the turn. So we will, it is not like that, bypassing somebody and not allowing some other person to express. We will wait for when our time, allow respite. So there has to be some breathing space in between two kind of tasks. It is not like rushing and hustling all the way through. Expand the moment we are in. If it is a blissful moment, if we are in that, or if even if it is a adversity kind of thing, if we are okay with anything, whether it is a adversity or it is a blissful situation, then the moment gets expanded and gets merged within us. Then the moment doesn't kind of trouble us. That is what tranquility is. And less noise, more poise. We are not going to creep about it so that our poise is created. The third value I have is compassion, which is about equality, no judging, gratitude, and inclusion. And the fourth one is transformation. Of course, it is freedom, detachment, expansion, deliver, depth in self, and enactment of that. That is what I call as transformation. From whatever stage we are right in, we have to transform to the next stage, or to a version, to a stage wherein we can transform the goals that we have set for ourselves. That is an audacious goals, right? With this same kind of version, we might not reach there. So this is what my idea is. And wealth is the fifth value, core value. It is reaching goal in time, ability to multiply, contribution, and timely support. This is what wealth is all about. Whether if it is not giving us all this, then simply money will not serve the purpose. And the final value is joy. If we have a global vision, if we have co-creation, if we automate the routine jobs, and if we can delegate and leverage from other people who are good at some of the job that we need to deliver, then real joy is created. So these are all about the six core values we have. And so far I have found out uh, least of issues why mid-career professionals face trouble. So if you see the deep blue ones, those are the points which are workplace issues, but rest of the points are not workplace issues. These are mindset issues. That has been my discovery. That is why I say that mid-career professionals require a certain kind of training which is not normally available. And the blueprint I suggest for the training is a simple one. It starts from difference. I call it as a drip technique, a drip technique, yes, and with AHAP method, right? So difference, we all, each of us is a different person, unique person. We have some uniqueness with ourselves. We need to recognize that. The second thing is, those kind of uniqueness, we have to build credibility around it. So sufficiently we have to prove ourselves for some time. That is what resilience is all about. Then once we build credibility, which is how people will see us, then we can influence with that, because we will be associated with that kind of resilience and that kind of credibility. And with that, we help people, we grow ourselves, and we achieve prominence. While we do this, there is a lot of our attitude, habit, action, and perception comes into play, which will kind of dissuade ourselves from the goal. So how, with each stage, how to deal with all those aspects of mindset, that is what is the entire thing about resourceful influencing. And the growing in the leadership ladder is all about. And I have my package at three level. Level one is of 15 weeks class, in which we deal about in 15 concepts. L2 is about 30-day challenge, in which we create habit around those 15 concepts. And level 3 is one-to-one consultation. And who this is for? As I said, it is about mid career professionals with 5 to 12 years of experience feeling stuck and unfulfilled. And what they get out of it? They get their roadmap. Each person has a unique solution, he needs a unique solution. That roadmap, how to go about it, will be created. And as a result of this, one will start to be sought after. Like, say, people will start recognizing that you are the only person who can solve this problem. So that is how you will establish your identity. Third is creating victories, which means every day there will be small success. That is what I call as victories. So that is how your confidence is consolidated and reinforced. And the least growth that you can expect from this kind of process is 3x. So whatever salary you are getting right now, you will be 3xing your salary. And what is required? It is, of course, leadership growth. And leadership is a behavior. Nobody is born with leadership. It is a behavior which can be expressed with the help of resourcefulness, and it can be inculcated. And recently, in this week, what has happened is I have been chosen as a speaker at a for super efficient appliances and how it will reduce carbon footprint. So this is the second time I am getting to speak in front of high level group panel discussion. So this has been an opportunity for me. And I have been accepted as a leader in the Leaders Hum, which has produced leaders like John Ades, and Adam Grant, whom I follow regularly, even Whitney Watson. So I'm there. I have just started. This is a growth point for me, and yes, and I'll be growing with this. So, who are there? Like say influencer like Marshall Goldsmith, all those people are there. And my podcast, the podcast I every day I upload one podcast. It has now many countries, as like say about 12 countries. Recent of them is Oman. So my, if you remember my mission statement, it is about creating like say impacting 1 billion people, and training 1 lakh super performing global players in 139 countries. So whether that dream is coming true or not, it has already shown in this podcast reaching to so many people. And the most read or heard country is Virginia State in US. And these are the checklist I have always told you to start writing a book. So this will be the technique I'll be adopting when I'll ask you to write a book. So maybe I'll create an outline and ask you to um, contribute whatever comes to your mind, so that it will be easier for you to contribute one page or so. Mindset reset. Last week, what I learned from third year's Lawrence workshop is level 5 leaders. These are the people who give more than they get. And it is ultimately what you do is you become an entrepreneur and own your business. This is the time like that. You are no more serving for others, you are serving for yourself. And every problem is a hint of an upcoming opportunity. That is why the problem has showed up. And deep introspection to connect the dots. Unless you think, introspect, reflect on whatever has happened, there will be this whatever is happening will be will appear to be fairly disconnected. But you have to think deeply, and the solution lies therein. The opportunity actually lies therein. This is to be done. Unless you go inside, the solution is not going to appear. And the problem and the adversity, the challenge shows because the habit to get inside, to introspect, has to be built, because you are going to be a leader in future. Every master starts with a disaster. So every master that you are seeing, every person has a background of disaster. So don't not to worry with the failures. And those persons, so many I meet, awareness before change. Are you big enough to become small? So that is what there is a story, as I say, I also shared last week. If you are very big, then you won't mind small task that is coming your way. It is like say doing small things, ordinary things very differently and in a very unusual manner is what makes you different. So are you that big to recognize those small things and do things in your way? And that is what simulation of mind aggressively uh, with introspection. That is what is required when you want to reset your mindset, right? And Thaddeus Lawrence is shown in this slide, where he says that once I become this, then I'll be happy. He doesn't, he says it is the other way round. First, you be happy, then do, then you can have. Then you can have your goal and results. Because the brain resonates only when you start imagining whatever you are. You have to tell yourself that you are already achieving this. So this is what I learned. And for my introspection, what I have gathered is, if I am meant for a bigger thing, huge thing in life, small seeking won't manifest. Small speaking seeking won't come to me. So this has been my new realization. Maybe you will be resonating with this. And this is a this is something told to me by one of my students. Very important guidance for leadership skills. This is again from Thaddeus Lawrence workshop. You cannot pursue success. You can have success. Success will ensue as a result of who you become. So first be, then you can have. That is what he says. And this is my leadership growth bundle, my solution, which is of one flagship course along with 5 bonuses. And what I teach is the same thing: difference, resilience, influence, and prominence. And in the in the course of 6 uh, course, what I teach is, you can find your uniqueness, solve and resolve, build on uniqueness, climb the ladder, earn credibility, be sought after, and core portfolio on the move. On the move, by on the move, I mean that you are not attached to one position, one designation, and one situation all the time. Every time you reach to a goal, then the second goal starts from there. So you should be able to manage that kind of mobility, then that kind of transition, if you want to achieve your ultimate goal. Because whatever you have achieved, that becomes small for you, right? And here is a dream tracker for me, about next till March 28th. This is a in a screenshot, like say, so I have created this one. So a similar thing will be created for all the students. Each one will have a different thing. It will not happen the way I have designed, but the ultimate goal that I have will happen in its own way. But this is just a roadmap that I have built for myself. Again, this is the blueprint that I have just discussed, and I use a mind map to tell you that the 3 secrets that I teach are about reality check, which I call Spark, and mindset reset. Just now I have discussed, it is called Shine, and secret 3 is final frontier, where you will be on the move, which is called Dazzle. And this has been a recent post that last week we also had discussed, and it got a lot of lot of attention in the group where I had posted. There is no easy way to success, but we can also interpret the same caption, by believing that we have our own timelines and pacing. We don't have to hurry. From that particular slide, that is what I have learned. Having a great launch towards success require efforts and perseverance. Why it has to be race where you are late? You don't have to be late, right? Others may take off, but each will have their own launch, own target. Maybe they will start, like say, at the same time, but their journey is theirs, right? You have to be in your journey only. Progress is progress even when it is 1 inch at the time. Progress is a race against oneself, not others. And this is a sticker that I saw in the Facebook, where so many good affirmations are written, and like say, every day if you are looking at such kind of affirmations, then your day is made, right? And this is about David Hawkins' list. It fascinates me because if you see, half the funnel, one is contracted, and the rest of the funnel, where you are expanding, is where you are resonating with the universe. Your frequency becomes unison with the universe. that is when you start manifesting. And how you will do that? If you see love and joy, even if love is very difficult for anybody to achieve, joy is easily achieved. So it doesn't require any qualification, nothing, no preparation. You can be instantly joyful, and that is how you will start resonating, vibrating at the universe's frequency. So why not do that? Even if you are right now at the lower level, like say whether you are in desire, fear, grief, or apathy, still you can immediately, instantly jump to the joy stage, to be in a expanded consciousness, which means we have to be in a circle where joy is inevitable, where people are joyful, people are thinking in terms of growth, they are thinking in terms of collaboration. So let us be in that group. That is why this group has been formed, so that we all will be in the joyful situation, right? So this is a very easy formula for all of us to be joyful and start manifesting. There are some discussion I had done last week about this. If you look at the left side, the place where you are contracted, it is about force, then about power, but the upper level, it goes towards power, and ultimate power is enlightenment. And peace might be difficult for us to attain, but joy is, certainly is. That is what my secret, my discovery is. Why not like everybody emulate this one and be joyful and start manifesting? So this is all about my thing today. Hope everybody enjoyed this broadcast, and any question anybody has, or else we'll be closing this mastermind call. Thank you, whoever was there. Thank you so much.